The Paramount has put in a bid to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery, including DC Studios. So this is a little bit more of that deal. Here it is. One moment, everybody. Okay. So Paramount Skydance is preparing a bid to purchase Warner Brothers Discovery and DC Studios. So yesterday, it was where the news came down, but Disney acquired 20th Century Fox. It seems another legendary studio will soon fall under another company's umbrella, as Paramount Skydance is preparing a bid to purchase Warner Brothers and DC. The Wall Street Journal has revealed that Paramount Skydance is preparing to make a majority cash bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. The Ellison family is backing these plans, and shares of Warner Brothers have surged by 30% since the news broke. It's said that the bid will be for the entire company, including its cable networks like HBO and the Warner Brothers Pictures movie studios. DC Studios also falls under that umbrella, of course. This comes mere weeks after David Ellison's company Skydance bought Paramount Global for $8.4 billion. David is the son of billionaire Larry Ellison, and a Paramount WBD merger would be a game changer for Hollywood. Whether it would be for the best is debatable. The prospective deal highlights the escalating consolidation frenzy in the media landscape, with legacy giants scrambling to bulk up and bolster their streaming cloud as TV audiences dwindle and content budgets soar. Following Paramount's merger with Skydance, David Ellison is on a mission to supercharge the company's cinematic lineup and streaming goals while slashing costs and revamping the faltering Paramount Plus platform. Ellison clan has been pivotal in bankrolling Skydance's growth. Industry insiders point out that snapping up Warner Brothers Discovery would likely demand hefty private funding, considering the deal's massive scope and the constraints of Paramount Skydance's financial reserves. What does this mean for DC and the DCU? It's far too soon to say, but Paramount is lacking on big money franchises, and down the line, we can probably expect some Transformers, Justice League, comic book crossovers. Yesterday, controversial Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav addressed the company's future and weighed on the chatter surrounding the streamers cracking down on password sharing. He said, "We haven't been pushing on the sharing and the economics yet. People are really starting to love HBO Max. That's the key. We want them to fall in love with our content, with our series, with the differentiated offering outside the U.S., and then over time, it's a little tricky with the password sharing. We're going to begin to push on that. I think our ability to raise prices as people become more and more in love with the quality that we have and the series that we have and the offering that we have." The executive also confirmed that he expects the planned separation of the companies to be completed by next year. We expect sometime in April that the companies will be split. Okay. Well, here's a question we didn't really discuss. And maybe you guys know the answer to this. Maybe all three of us going, I don't know the answer to that question. Let's say they do sell. And Chris, I'll start with you. If they do sell, Paramount sells or buys Warner Brothers, what does Zaslav do? Is he still employed with the company, or does he just go away? Shopping for cars, it should be exciting, guys. It should be exciting, not exhausting. And that's what it feels like a lot of the times. But between misleading prices, hidden fees, it really does feel like a maze. Good news for everybody. Car Gurus. That's where they come in. They rank the best deals, they verify the dealers, and they make sure you never pay more than you should. Your big deal, it just became a great deal. That is why they are so incredible. And I think that everybody should know about them, and I'm telling you about them now so you do. Car Guru is going to connect you with trusted dealerships when you're ready, ensuring a transparent, hassle-free buying process. Car Gurus gives you the control to shop how you want to shop, with the tools, the information, and data-driven deal ratings that you need. It's no wonder that SimilarWeb estimated traffic data shows that Car Gurus is the #1 most visited car shopping site. You got to buy or sell your next car today. Car Gurus at cargurus.com. You got to go to cargurus.com and make sure your big deal, that it's the best deal. Car Gurus, CARGURUS.com. Cargurus.com. Don't miss out on Car Gurus.
He just gets to hang out on a mega yacht and live his best life.
Again, he gets to clone himself and do it again.
Yeah. He and his clone can just high five each other and then go on separate yachts.
Right.
I mean, maybe he'll stay on as a figurehead, but I'm not sure why he would.
Right.
Aside from if Ellis wants to do the kind of mentee mentor thing that Zaslav had established before, of doing his talking tour, of trying to get everyone who knew more about the industry or was wiser than him in certain ways and try to absorb their knowledge. Whether or not he truly absorbed that knowledge, who's to say?
Right.
But I do think overall, it makes sense. And Todd Spangler over at Variety did a great article on this morning about why would you go in and do this purchase now? And it actually does make a lot of sense to do this before WB starts splitting up assets so that other people get in this bidding war, cherry picking the best assets. If you get it at a whole, you really have an opportunity to get all those great things and really just land on having so many assets under your own umbrella in a time where, you know, our industry is so tumultuous. There's so much instability. There always has been in Hollywood, let's be clear. Right. But especially when you look at the movie industry and everything, people aren't flocking to movies anymore. Streaming is really what's dominating. So it makes sense to place a bid like this now so that you can get all the things you want and not be fighting with other people for the little scraps and leftovers. But I don't know, maybe Zaslav hangs out. Maybe he continues doing more cameos and Wizard of Oz nonsense at the Sphere. Who's to say?
I think he's done because I think that he was brought on to sell this freaking thing. I think
that's what it feels like. He's been chopping things up all the time. I mean, over on CAMEO, we would joke that it was the axe of Zaslav.
Right.
And he was constantly getting rid of stuff.
And he's building up his library to make it more sexy. And that's why, the reason why now, as you ask, well, they were probably saying and crossing their fingers, okay, Superman, do something. And Superman did something. You know, it's like, it maybe didn't make the $1 billion that they would have hoped that it made, but it still made, it went through that profit thing. It made 150 million profit over some, and then all the other movies that they have that have made profit, they're in a spot right now. They're having a legendary year. And that is the time to say, look at everything that we're doing right now. You get, I think the executives will stay on. I think some of the people, some people will lose their jobs for sure. I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to be in the minority. I think I would much rather things be tightened down and not have Paramount plus HBO Max plus this, put it under one banner. That's to me, when it comes to why I care about budgets on movies, is because it affects the quality for me. But when it comes to, you know, the big studios owning one, I don't care. Just make stuff. And if you're going to make stuff, and then this guy, by the way, who's making all these deals, he was just announced at one point, they're going back and forth now, him and Elon Musk as the two richest guys in America. This is his Twitter. You know what I mean? Like, so where Elon bought Twitter, this guy's buying studios and doing stuff. And and maybe he's a big movie guy, maybe too. This could be a really good thing for the business, and it could be a disaster. But Winston, what does this mean for the history of DC? And because I don't want to see G.I. Joe and Batman.
Yeah, I don't really want to see that either. That sounds kind of dumb. I'll be honest. Like, I hate the idea of this. If you want to find a way to tighten up on all the streaming services, which they should have never decided everybody needed one in the first place, do what is going on right now. Like, HBO has a bundle deal with Disney that you get Hulu, Disney Plus, and HBO, which also has a little bit of TNT. So essentially you're sort of making cable again, but I got that with ads for $16.99 a month. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sell off your rights to whatever, get some sort of thing. The idea of combining studios, because that's where I'm focused, I'm not really as pressed on the streaming services, ultimately is not necessarily a good thing, just because you already mentioned the job loss. So that's already going to be an issue as it is. But then B, the amount of content does go down. I understand that we got a little blown out of control with the amount of streaming services you needed stuff to put on it. But think about when 20th Century Fox was bought, they were putting out on average somewhere between 15 and 20 movies a year. And now under that banner, they put out about 5. So what I'm concerned about is, obviously we want higher quality stuff. We're going to see a shrinkage of all different types of stuff. Cool. DC is now under the Paramount umbrella, and that's also where Transformers are. Well, okay, you're not going to get, not that I like the Transformers movies personally, but you're not going to get a Transformers and like 2 DC films. You're probably going to get one of each, or just one period. Like, you're going to see things get brought in. So for people that enjoy watching movies, this doesn't bode well, because there's a reason monopoly laws exist in the first place. You're supposed to want competition. So
Well,
I don't know, man.
it stifles creativity overall
does.
too, because when you have two studios kind of all smushed together and they all own this IP, it's just you only have a few executives now controlling that. And that means we're going to take less risks. We are potentially going to accelerate towards
Depending on
trends that are safe.
but Chris, depending on who the executives are, like
That's true.
you're not wrong that could be, but you could also get some executives that do take risks.
And I hope that's the case. I just worry that with the smaller number of people who are in there doing the creative bargaining, that they're going to limit opportunities. And you know, maybe they'll take an A24 route and go, hey, everything that is going to be creative, weird, just nutso butso stuff, we're going to take an A24 approach and do low budgets and really focus on, you know, practical effects and working within this kind of thing, or contained universes, not doing big franchise tentpole pieces. But I just do worry about the idea of limiting people because we have the same folks deciding what we're going to do with everything. And that's where I would hope that the layoffs would at least not take away too many key figures who would be promoting and you know, championing new creative franchises or new creative things. I want people to keep giving us things like, you know, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I don't necessarily want another 17 Jurassic Parks.
Well, wait, here's another question though for you though too, because this is something that we don't necessarily know. Does it mean, because I was thinking about like the WCW and the WWF back in the day when they merged, right? What did happen is actually what we're talking about. What I think that they should have done back then is WWF should have ran as itself. WCW should have ran by itself with WWF running it, but it should have just ran as a separate league, but they didn't. They turned it into one big thing and it got really sloppy, really messy. There was an invasion angle that was cool for a little bit, but they could have run two separate things with the same kind of money that they were using. Does Paramount do that? If this even happens, does Warner Brothers stay where it is? Do they run the lot with just Paramount running it and Paramount being part of it? Or do they just take everything and put it at the Paramount lot? We don't necessarily know, Winston.
No, and I 100% get that. I guess it would be smarter to do exactly what you said and let that still run on its own. We write your checks now, but do your own thing.
You live there. We're not taking away your home base.
I feel like you have to do it because I mean, look, we obviously, everybody here is into movies, and if you're watching or a part of the show, then you're into superhero stuff. There is no Batman without Joker, and vice versa.
Right.
Disney's
going to be their Joker though.
Which I understand, but Batman has a rogues gallery. There's something that he gets from the Joker and from fighting Two-Face and Mr. Freeze. You know what I'm saying? It having different, right? You have your primary rival, sure, but having the various ones that gives you a different level of growth, that gives you a different level of having to question yourself, improve your tactics, things like that. If you start limiting all the different things that you're dealing with, there is less room for you to expand and get better. So that's the one thing that, you know, I'll never forget in college. I took econ like 101, and that's it. And it's what consumers love competition, but executives hate competition. Executives hate it because then they can drive the price to whatever they want. Consumers love it because it actively brings stuff down. So all we're going to do by doing this is, in my opinion, things will devolve a little bit more.
We'll see. Look, we don't even know if it's going to happen. But the question is, do you guys think it should happen? I'm going to guarantee most people say no. I'm going to be my own little island over here. But I do wonder if it's even going to happen. We shall see. Put your thoughts in there, whether it is in the live chat, comment section, of course, the Clips channel. I hope everybody is subscribed to the Clips channel. Come on, show a little. Subscribe over there.